Hey guys, I have First John chapter 3 for you, not the whole chapter, just a selection, and then I'm going to share my afterthoughts, a little something that I've been dealing with, and maybe it'll encourage you. So First John chapter 3, 10 through 16. Here's how one can distinguish clearly between God's children and those of the adversary. Everyone who does not continue doing what is right is not from God. Likewise, anyone who fails to keep loving his brother is not from God. For this is the message which you have heard from the beginning, that we should love each other, and not be like Cain, who is from the evil one and murdered his own brother. Why did he murder him? Because his own actions were evil and his brothers were righteous. Don't be amazed, brothers, if the world hates you. We, for our part, know that we have passed from death to life because we keep loving the brothers. The person who fails to keep on loving is still under the power of death. Everyone who hates his brother is a murderer, and you know that no murderer has eternal life in him. The way that we have come to know love is through his having laid down his life for us, Yeshua, that we ought to lay down our lives for the brothers. Okay, this is very masculine. I don't know, focus. It's the brothers, but I mean, we're just going to take a moment and I'm going to tell you my story. The focus for me was verse 14. We, for our part, know that we have passed from death to life because we keep loving the brothers. The person who fails to keep on loving is still under the power of death. So we have to continue loving one another. And that can be hard. You're going to rub up against other people and it's not going to be fun. In fact, Proverbs talks about that. Iron sharpens iron, as a brother or believer sharpens other believers. It's come to a point where I have had to cut people off. I was like, this is not working. There's just lots of offenses, like back and forth. I'm not the victim. But then I read the verse 14. And if I went from death to life, I should promote life, not death. If I sever a person from my life, I believe it's Romans 12 that talks about how we are one body. You have believers that are the eyes or the ears, the feet, and so on and so forth. We all need each other. If I sever myself from the body or sever someone from the body, because I feel like I've been severed from the body before. I don't know if you can relate, but if there's any severing of the body, that part of the body dies. I have a friend that's diabetic and actually had to have part of his body removed because of gangrene. So that was a very vivid picture for me, but that part of the body that was severed is no longer living, no longer part of the body. And if I moved from death to life, and I'm supposed to be promoting life, what did the end of it say? The person who fails to keep on loving is still under the power of death. Like, I don't want the power of death over me. I don't want the power of death to be motivating my decision making. I don't want the power of death to have influence on me or my family or my relationships or any of the things that I share or learn. I don't want the power of death over any of that. So this one relationship that I've had recently that I did sever, I did have to go and I had to apologize for my part. And we were able to speak honestly, and I was able to share how I was offended and how I myself felt severed. And we discussed it and we're great. There's still the clashing. There's still bits and pieces where we are learning to each other and our personalities and our habits in their communication. And so we are able to discuss things, whether heatedly or not. Usually the heat, after a while, we remember what the goal is. The goal is life, not death, especially among believers. And so we are choosing to love one another. But it's not always easy. It may be easy for you. Maybe I'm just the stubborn one. I do know that as I was meditating, pondering, chewing on these verses, there were people that came to mind where I had previously severed and I have reconciled and tried to make those relationships healthy again as best as I could. There are some of those relationships where I still like cringe, and I have to figure out why. And we can't always have the best relationships with everyone. It's not always going to be Care Bears and sunshine. And maybe I'm the grumpy bear. I always kind of related to him. Fun fact. So the goal is to continue loving, to continue doing the works of the Father, continue growing the body. So I hope this was encouraging you. You got to learn a little bit more about me, and I don't know, this is something that I am still working on, because today's a new day. All right, thanks, bye.